Hi guys, so I spent the entire afternoon rearranging my TBR and rearranging my bookshelf according to my TBR. I'm going to do a TBR very different this year. I realized that I work better off of suggestion than actually a list of books that I want to read. So I did compile a group of books that I want to read next year, and I put them in different categories for different months. I want to celebrate different Pride months next year. I want to celebrate African American History Month, Women's History Month, Asian American Pride Month. I want to celebrate Pride Month. I want to celebrate um, Hispanic and Latinx Pride Month next year. And I want to do that by reading different fiction books by different authors. And let me just show you how my suggestive TBR looks. So this is the TBR as a whole. I'm not going to be able to get to every single one of these books if I'm going to be completely honest. But the way that I'm doing it is like in January, I'm going to start on my African American history celebration because I am a little slow and I do take a little bit of time to read books. I take a lot of time to read books sometimes. So I'm going to be reading my African American history books in January. My fiction that I'm going to be reading, I should say, not the history books, just to celebrate. And then in February, I'm going to post the videos and the reviews, the annotations. That way we can have a conversation. And these are the books that I get to choose from in January for February. So Ace of Spades, Wings of Ebony, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, This Wicked Fate, and then this is a duology, Skin of the Sea and Soul of the Deep, Akata Witch, Akata Warrior. I'm missing the third book. And then this is another duology, War Girls. I think this is another duology or trilogy, Zero Repeat Forever. And then I have a trilogy that I have to buy the fifth season if I do decide to read those books. So these are like kind of my options. There's a lot of books. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, but I do want to get to a few of them just so I can do a little celebration. And then in March, we have Women's History Month. So I want to get to these books specifically, One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns, my Rebecca Ross duology, A River Enchanted, A Fire Endless, When Oceans Rise. This is another mermaid book, and Faith Taking Flight. So those are the books that I want to kind of get into. And then my alternatives would be God Killer, Vespertine, and Assistant to the Villain, and Interview to the Vampire. If I don't get to them, I'm not going to be as stressed, but and then as well as Fireborn. So the Fireborn trilogy, these are my options for Women's History Month, and I just wanted to keep my options open. That way, if I feel like reading fantasy, I can stick with something like this where it's like magic and stuff like that. But if I feel like reading dragons, I could get to that. Mermaids, superheroes, more about like wars between gods. I could just have my options open and read what I need to read. And then in May, so basically in April going into May, but in May specifically, it's Asian American Pacific Islander Pride Month, and I want to focus on these books. I want to be able to read at least the Bone Shard Emperor trilogy because my mom did get me those for Christmas last year, and she's been wanting me to read them, and I've been wanting to read them. I just haven't found the time. And finally, if I'm going to do it this way, my TBR, then I'm going to get to those books because I feel like I'm going to just binge them. I read the first couple pages and my mind said, oh, these books are going to be dangerous because I feel like I'm just going to get through them in one sitting. And then the Poppy War, that's another book series that I've been putting off because I know myself, and having the full trilogy available and the way that people react to it, I would want to get to it and finish it quickly. Iron Widow, the second book comes out next year, Heavenly Tyrant. So I kind of want to hold off, and I've been wanting to hold off on reading Iron Widow because I'm just like, well, if the second book comes out, then I can just binge both all in one go. And then there's the Hurricane Wars. So I hope I can get to all of these. If I can only get to a few, then I can only get to a few. And my Pride Month, I have a lot of books for Pride, and I have very little time in Pride Month in June. So I'm going to split Pride between June and I think Vegas Pride, it's October. So in June and October, I'm going to be reading a few of these books. And like I said, I'm gonna split it in half. I know that I can read gay pride books all year long if I really wanted to, and I probably will, because I get tired of straight fiction. I get really, really frustrated, especially if there's no like side characters that are gay in the book. Then I'm just like, oh, I'm getting tired of the straights. But I love you straights, but at the same time in fiction, I need gay. I need LGBT. I don't need the smut portion of it. I do not need any smut portion of it. I just need a cute gay romance in every single fictional novel, and sometimes you don't get that. So these are my options. I have The Priory Over the Orange Tree, A Day of Fallen Night, Spirit Bears Its Teeth, Wolf Song, Raven Song. I have The Wayward Son and Any Way the Wind Blows, the Carry On series, because I want to finish these books. I absolutely love Simon and Bass and Penelope. They are my best trio, even better than Harry Potter trio. Nick and Charlie, this is a chapter book. I want to get to Legends and Lattes. I want to get to A Broken Blade for sure. These are another few options that I want to get into, but I don't know if I'm going to get into In the Lives of Puppets and Under the Whispering Door and A Cruel and Hollow Star and A Cruel and Faded Light. It comes out next year, I think, or maybe it's already out. I'm not sure, but I think the third one comes out next year. And then these are a few other ones. I want to finish my Grishaverse because I absolutely love the Grishaverse. I just didn't like Shadow and Bone. I have to finish Ruin and Rising so I can finally get into King of Scars. And I've been putting off Ruin and Rising because I just did not like it. So I want to finally finish that. I'm going to try to finish Ruin and Rising in the next couple weeks if I can, to get that out of the way. That way I could get into King of Scars next year and the Jasmine Throne and the Oleander Sword. So then in between that, there's going to be a couple months where I just get to pick whatever I want, just 2 specific months. But like I said, I'll be working 1 month ahead. So July, I get to pick whatever I want. And that's just going to be any of these books on the side over here. Crave, Crush, Covet, Skyward, Ember of the Ashes, The Luminaries. I have 1 month where I get to pick whatever I want. And then as soon as August hits going into September, I'm going to try to focus on Hispanic Heritage Month and literally looking at my TBR for Hispanic books. I need to buy more because this was my sad little pathetic way of doing a TBR for Hispanic Heritage Month, and I need more LGBT and more Latinx recommendations and Latinx slash LGBT recommendations, because I just need to add this stuff to my library and make it even bigger with Latinx stuff, because I didn't realize that I had a lot more LGBT stuff than Latinx stuff. Hispanic Heritage Month is in September, so like I said, I'm going to try to read these in August to get to September, and then September going into October, that's when Hispanic Heritage Month ends. And then November and December, I just get to pick whatever I want to read off my shelf and enjoy what I need to read, because November and December is usually my recertification month, and that's the month where I'm the most stressed for my job and to keep my job. But in order to like mellow out my stress and make sure that I know what I'm doing and calm myself down because I know what I'm doing, I usually pick just whatever book series I want to get through and finish it. This year it was ACOTAR. I like hyper focused on ACOTAR, not only because I'm stressed, but also because I was like, let me get through this series. And last year it was Demon Slayer, and I got through the entire manga. So we'll see what series is going to be for next year. Maybe we'll see if it's going to be the Crave Crush series, or if it's going to be Ember in the Ashes, Skyward. Like I said, these books in the middle are just kind of like just whatever books, like if I'm in the mood to read about witches, space, if I'm in the mood to read about a magical school, then I'm going to read about a magical school. So that's how my TBR is going to go for next year. Yeah, so I'm excited.